When friends have asked me, okay, why haven't we had a woman president yet? I joke, I don't want to shock you, but it's sexism. The real explanation, of course, is hardly that simple. Some of the women who ran and lost were simply bad candidates or ran bad campaigns. That happens with male candidates too. And yet, the structures that make up the tent poles of the presidential process are often tilted in favor of certain candidates but slanted against others, including, and especially, women and candidates of color. Those structures range from the political parties themselves and the kingmakers within them to the complicated dynamics of presidential primaries, as opposed to general elections, to the complex biases of the electorate. From who Americans view as qualified to who the media and party gatekeepers deem electable, to the ways candidates are given the space, in the media and on the campaign trail, to present themselves as authentic political figures and people. At its core, the invisible scaffolding that holds up the world of presidential politics was built by straight white men, for straight white men, to maintain power for, straight white men. The ways that media covers and gauges the successes of campaigns and candidates are also implicitly steeped in this same framework. To be non-male, non-white, or non-heterosexual means working within a system that wasn't meant for you, while also shouldering the burden of bending and redefining these structures and institutions once you establish power within them. After all, we rarely specify when talking about a male candidate or male lawmaker. These fundamental structural inequities were finally illustrated for me in a Fiona Apple song, blaring on my car speakers during one of my many drives to Joe Biden's home base of Wilmington, Delaware in the summer of 2020. I grew up in the shoes they told me I could fill, shoes that were not made for running up that hill, and I need to run up that hill, I need to run up that hill. I will, I will, I will. Driving northbound on I-95, I'd finally, if accidentally, found what I'd been looking for. An explanation that encompassed the frustration and the opportunity of the last few years. One that applied not just to the women who ran, but, as you'll see in these chapters, to me and the female colleagues around me, too. That sometimes the complex, multi-layered, and multifaceted explanation I'd been looking for could be summed up simply as not being given the right shoes that'll get you to the top of the hill. There's plenty of literature and data and academic work in this space about women pursuing higher office that a real-time cable news cycle just isn't equipped to parse through, especially not the way news develops and breaks so rapidly in real time. And that's also part of what I tried to infuse here, in these chapters of explorations of moments that I reported on for viewers and readers from 2015 to 2022. I thought about these political outcomes first as a political reporter, because that's what I am, but also as a woman. I benefited in the 2016 cycle, but also in 2020, from being flanked in the traveling and DC press corps by other brilliant female reporters and producers and embeds. Especially in the 2020 cycle, we were more primed than ever to spot the backhanded compliments and brushbacks and subtle double meanings with big implications, because we ourselves lived lives of backhanded compliments, brushbacks, and subtle double meanings with big implications. That experience, plus companies that urged us to bring our full selves to work, allowed me and us to better relate to and push back on points of frustration from the campaigns of women and people of color throughout the primary. That there's even discussion of identifying and disrupting these unfair narratives is key to eradicating them and leveling the playing field from the perspective of gender and race. Visibility and expansion of leadership archetypes is another essential. The year 2020 itself was paramount. 6 women ran for president, the most at one time in any presidential cycle ever, all with the goal of doing something that has still literally never been done before, becoming the first female president of the United States. Their bids came after a watershed midterm cycle for female candidates, where it wasn't just a case of Congress being flooded with more female and non-white electeds than ever, though that did happen, but it was further proof that women and people of color win at the same rates as white male candidates do when they run and make it out of a primary into a general election. A critical point to prove regardless, but especially in the age of Trump, when skepticism about the detrimental effect of Hillary Clinton's gender on the 2016 election results permeated political chatter. The women of 2020 ran on Hillary's shoulders as the first woman to ever earn the title of a major political party's nominee for president and the first woman to win the presidential popular vote. But she stood on the shoulders of the women who ran for president before her, too, a mere 22 of them throughout history, including the 2026. That number begins with Victoria Woodhull, the first woman to ever run for president.